Joachim Palmqvist is a crime journalist and the author of Mafia War, and he joins us now from Malmo. Joachim, great to speak to you. Firstly, let's start. Lovely. Look, let's start in Malmo where you are. What sparked these latest grenade attacks?
I think it's a long process that we see the outcome of now. We've had about a decade of gang war, turf war, a long stretch of murders over the past 10 years. And that has raised the level of violence, the level of ruthlessness to a previously unknown level. What's been going on now is, my take on it is that there are several conflicts, a couple of them about drugs, one of them about guns, one of them about love, basically, between whose girlfriend is whose. Really trivial things like that. So it's a multitude of explanations.
That's interesting. So it's no central theme, but do you think it all sort of revolves around the gang warfare? I mean, are they the same group of people?
It is a very broad group of people. We don't have the sort of Hells Angels type of gangs organized these days. It's loosely knitted networks, but they all operate in the underworld of Malmo, southern Sweden, so to say. So if you call that a group, which I would, 100 to 250 people, it is all within that group. They are the ones who have the means and also the ruthlessness, the violent behavior, history of violent behavior that would do things like this. It is absolutely mad, though. Hand grenades in densely populated areas, military-grade weapons.
How are the police and in fact, community leaders managing this kind of situation? As you say, it is quite strange, and particularly in a country like Sweden.
I just came from an interview with the national head of police, and he's been crystal clear that Malmo police will get whatever they want. Helicopters, bomb policemen, investigators, anything. Well, basically, all the police resources of Sweden is scrambled towards Malmo now. One big factor is patrolling, basically showing uniforms and police cars in the streets so as to instill safety in the population. So far, the police has been, to my mind, coping pretty poorly with the whole issue because there has been no arrests up until yesterday, when 2 people were arrested for bombs thrown last year even. The community leaders are coping as best they can. Their possibilities to work more sort of in the long term, helping in more resources to the social services, help with housing, things like that. But they have been doing very little so far.
And that's interesting because that really takes us to the other issue, and that is of asylum seekers and migrants, where we saw that violent attack in the IKEA store. So there is this kind of undercurrent running through that politicians are, I guess, finding hard to deal with. Absolutely. We have had over a decade when it comes to politics as well, where the right-wing Sweden Democrats has been gaining momentum, where migrant hatred against migrants has been on the rise for a long time. And as we've seen an influx of asylum seekers and migrants through the Syrian conflict, there has been rising tension towards migrants overall. And now you see 2 asylum seekers being suspected for the murders in the IKEA store. That could spark off retaliation attacks towards other asylum seekers. I'm quite sure it will, I'm afraid. All right, Joachim, really good to get your expertise on this. Thanks for joining us tonight.